You know, they were able to predict my movements in life, what it is that I do. Um, they knew she's a kind person, whatever. And they thought, oh, she's just going to pray and give it to God. That's not what is happening right now. So to the end, I will be dealing with the situation of the theft of my property that I have invested into since childhood. Now, this is before I could even speak well. I was a talking toddler. So all that success and visible competence um, uh, got people's attention that did not earn to have that property. So the signals of my hard-earned resources um, were stolen. And what I put together for you is just to describe what this pattern is. It's not a mysterious energy in a supernatural sense. It's when someone has worked hard from childhood, building skills, discipline, assets, reputation, and simply the appearance of having something worth taking. And that's why I said some people have no idea of what's going on. If you really don't own property and don't have a history with dealing with these people, you really don't know what's going on. So I became more noticeable as the death of Reb Foley and Mother Davis. And people were just waiting for the opportunity to come in and steal and snatch up stuff. And the two overlapping groups that were identified, of course, as we called scammers and opportunists. These people target people that look like they have money, status, time, or the trust to exploit. A lot of people look like don't even think about it. And others, we try to help you real quick so we can move on our way. You know, it's nothing. We think there's nothing wrong with trying to help someone, not knowing that they have undermining intentions to harm. So that hard work that produces results, even if they're modest, creates a surface cue for those looking to take advantage of someone, especially if it's steady income. That's where the elderly and disabled are quite often targeted. People who own property that's just about paid off, that professional demeanor, the online presence, because they know you're not going to get out and simply fight and pow in the middle of the street, because that's just, you have a professional demeanor. You're not about that life. And a lot of times they know that you're not about that life, and they take advantage of that. Sometimes you got to be about that life in order to protect your property. And a lot of us are not wanting to change that type of lifestyle just because things have changed. So that simple reliability of who you are and how you move through life sets you up for fraudsters, people that want to scam you for something or just straight out steal it or kill. So the more your life shows evidence of sustained efforts, the higher you rank on their target list. This is why successful people report higher rates of phishing and romance scams and investment pitches and social engineering attempts and all the stuff. Even now in spirituality, they try to pull you in for their own opportunity. So people who have not matched that effort their envy of you, their free riding, their status seeks behavior intensified around those who demonstrate consistent work. They know you got something that they don't have, but they want to take it. And some individuals respond to another person's achievement by trying to extract that value without reciprocating any type of effort. They steal. Some people call them varmints. So they request the money, the opportunities that are one-sided. They will guilt trip you. Social climbing. This is ordinary social dynamics, not activation of a special force. So we always want to blame the devil for something or God and this and that. And it's saying that this is human behavior in practical terms. The shift you notice is the result of increased visibility and perceived resources. So that childhood to adult grit often produced exactly those signals, and everybody can tap into spirituality regardless of their integrity. So the same traits that create real value also create a larger attack surface for parasites. This is no evidence of mysticism or mystical energy that uniquely activates scammers or slackers. What exists is selection pressure. Predators and free riders allocate their limited attention toward higher payoff targets. So people who have built something through sustained work become those targets more often. And those that have done the stealing will say, well, now God has changed them and they found a new way in life after they stole your money and your resources that you've worked for since childhood. So it is not new. That nice way of putting the changeover of wealth was actually theft. And those of us who've worked since childhood, our families have invested into these homes to get them stolen that way. I think people are not understanding what this wealth transfer is all about. So the useful responses are practical. They're not vibrational. It's not God trying to punish you, or you missed a cue or didn't pray right the one night, or you should have meditated more. It's none of that. And best thing to do now when you hear someone else's story is to tighten your boundaries and make sure the verification habits in your city, state, county, that they put more blocks for the theft, for the people that's stealing, not the people that's working hard and paying things. They seem to make it harder for those who are trying to do the right thing versus those who have the ability to manipulate, steal, and lie. They seem to be getting through with a breeze and no type of resistance. So to reduce that public signaling of being a good person and your assets being so visible and being a soft target, they're saying that we have to change our way of life. You have to choose very selectively who you're going to try to help nowadays, because it can come back to harm you in the worst way. They have been watching my family for years, especially with Rev Foley being a pastor. We've always been available, and like I told you, we've always kept those doors open. The door had been open since I was little, and this is back in the 70s. And we would leave the state and come back, and our home would still be fine. So I never imagined that someone would be able to come in and steal our house. I never imagined that that could happen. So the filter association by demonstrated, how somebody reciprocates what you're giving. You want to find more people like that than people that just take. And that competency of them being able to take care of themselves in the stories and so forth. You have to be more alert and more aware. And I know that's kind of difficult as you age, and it becomes a little bit more difficult to catch things like you used to when you were younger. So that you treat it like a sudden interest from previously uninterested people as data, not a coincidence. We always want to say the devil and God, the devil did this, or God and that and the other. And a lot of it is just straight up human nature of people that have nothing, are destitute, or envy, or just steal. That's what they've been taught to do. So the pattern is real. The causal mechanism is human behavior. It's an sedative, not an invisible field you came across, and now all of a sudden you're doomed. That's not what's happening here. And the more people that you bring in that are destitute and have nothing, it's going to happen more often. So it's not to point the finger that it's Hispanics or blacks or poor whites or whatever words that you come up for people that are financially challenged. It is a human behavior, and it's an unfortunate one when you've worked all your life and all of a sudden one day that seed that you plant for your future is no longer there, and they think it's God's gift after they done stole it from you, and now all of a sudden they want to change their ways. And we're going to leave it there and go ahead and close out, guys. I'll catch up with you a little bit later. We're waiting for the Jeep to cool off, and then we'll be on our way getting the tire repaired and getting the alignment.